Alright, hello, Jerrel here. This is my review of the Karrera Acoustic Bass. So, if you're wondering whether or not you should pick up one of these, stop. I'm going to stop you right now. You stop it. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting everyone around you. Your kids call you. You don't answer the phone. You don't answer their little Facebook messages. You're smoking and you're drinking till way too late in the evening and you're ordering Karrera instruments. Everything you're doing is hurting you. You stop it. All jokes aside, this is a terrible, terrible instrument. Karrera is not a brand that you should be... What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with yourself? You look in the mirror and you say to yourself, why am I doing this? Why do I keep buying these Karrera instruments? So this is my third Karrera instrument. I have a P-Bass, which seems to be the only one that they put in any sort of effort into because they know that they sell quite well. It's a popular instrument, the electric P-Bass. This is an acoustic bass that has the pickup built in. It has an equalizer, and it is not. When I received it, it was not playable at all. For starters, the manufacturing is appalling. It's been this way for every Karrera instrument that I've purchased, and it's just worse and worse with each one that I've picked up. I looked on Karrera's websites and their advertisements, and they're saying they're becoming the world's most popular brand in Europe and USA. They're taking the world by storm, and they're destroying their competition because their manufacturing is such high quality. You are making me laugh. You are making me angry, and you are making me laugh. Why do you say these things? You stop it right now. You stop these lies. You stop this madness. I'm sort of losing it a little bit because the things Karrera says about their brand hurt my head. So, I'm going to show you the fretboard here, and it is not good. There's damage across the whole thing. You'll see tool marks across every single fret. Let's have a look here. Damage there, damage there, damage there, damage there. So whatever slave child that they have chained to a desk, and they're forcing this slave child to produce 70 of these a day. You know what, you guys gotta get better working conditions for whoever's making these. Look here, it's not even like, there's a huge gap here. This is no good. It's messed up across the whole thing. You can feel that. It's not good. It's very rough. Like, that's what is going on there. It's just cracked right there. It's a disaster the whole way through. Looking at it up close hurts my eyeballs. I can feel like this isn't smooth at all, you know. I can feel that join there. And what's aggravating, I can't show you, but you know those little like plastic things that have the adhesive and you stick it to a wall and you can put a cable tie through it and you hold wires in place. They have that in there. I don't know why. It's holding, you know, the wiring in place. Well, it should have been, except the adhesive has come off, so it's free floating in there. So when I play something, it rattles. The plastic bit that has adhesive on it is floating around in there, and it's rattling very loudly. It is not good. So what I have done with this instrument, I've replaced the plastic saddle that comes with. I've replaced it with bone that I've carved myself out of a blank. The strings that it came with were... you may as well string this up with dental floss. The strings that came with it are useless. They're a waste of time. You are going to have to buy a decent set of strings to replace them with. There's no two ways around it. Otherwise, you're not going to get any good sound out of it. It's going to sound awful. So the strings that come with this, throw it out. Throw it into the bin right away. Recycle it. This is a bone saddle that I replaced. It came with, again, a really low quality, flimsy, it was hollow on the inside, plastic nut. This is bone. It's nice, good, solid quality. The tuning machines work. Wow, would you believe it? They actually work. And it's a shame because I think this is a very handsome instrument. I really like the way this top looks. I really enjoy this sunburst. I think it looks great. The rosette, actually, I thought it looked really cool at a distance, but when you look at it up close, it looks like I don't know, I grew up in the 90s where you could get those fun holographic stickers, you know, and you put them on your binder at school. That's what this looks like. It looks like a cheap sticker you get out of a gumball machine. From a distance, it looks really cool, though. And it's such a shame because this, I think the parts are quite good for these Karrera instruments. It is the assembly and the manufacturing that failed, and it's chipping away at my sanity, as you can see. I'll play it a little bit because I've worked really hard to get this to sound decent. I've got the action as low as I possibly can, and so you'll hear some buzzing, and I'll explain that in a minute, but I'll play it a little bit. So there's a little bit of buzzing in there, and that's because I've adjusted the truss rod. I've taken a lot of relief out of it, and the reason why is because I'm actually converting this into an 8-string bass. So I'm waiting on a part to be delivered. It will be a tailpiece, dobro style, and I will be adding the bottom 4 strings from an acoustic guitar, which means when you play this guy, you'll have that, but then you'll also have the bottom E from a guitar play as well. So that's why I purchased this instrument. I have other Karrera instruments. I know they are a disaster. Karrera instruments are a disaster. They are not good unless you need a project instrument and you want something to work on. You enjoy working with your hands. You're good with tools. You want to have a project. Then yes, Karrera instruments are great because the parts they use are nice. They are nice parts. And if you want to find a diamond in the rough and you want something to sound good because you worked on it, then Karrera instruments are just for you. I am extremely happy with my Karrera banjo. It was a disaster when I got it. Was not playable. Awful. I worked on it for weeks, and I just absolutely couldn't be happier with the sound I'm getting out of my banjo. It looks horrible. There's a whole bunch of damage all along the fretboard from whatever slave child they have locked in a basement that's rasping away at these things. But if you want to work on an instrument yourself, Karrera's a nice, cheap starting point. If you don't want that, if you want an instrument that you can play right out of the box without having to do a lot of work, please do not get a Karrera instrument. You're going to be sad. If you get a Karrera instrument for someone, they're going to be sad. You're bringing sadness down on the whole world. Don't do it. And the sound that's coming out of this now, I'm actually quite happy with this. I'm waiting on one part that is called a tournevoz, Tornavoz, tournevoz. But there's a sort of a modern plastic version called an O port. You jam it all up in there, and it's in kind of an O shape, and it sort of helps with the projection. Depending on the instrument, it can help with the lows and the mids. So I'm hoping that when I get that tournevoz in there, it will help with the projection. I'm not necessarily trying to compete with a band. You often hear electric basses say just, acoustic basses are a waste of time when you're playing with other people because you're not going to have any sound. This has a pickup so you can plug in. I tried it. It sounds fine. But again, that's not what I'm going to be using it for. I really want the acoustic character, so I want to find a playing style that makes the most of the instrument as an acoustic and not as an acoustic that has a pickup. So, I don't know, I haven't even played it that much. I'll play it just a little bit more, just so you can get an idea of what it sounds like. And I'll use some picks here. I'll use this felt guy right here. I'll switch to a mandolin pick, which I guess you could use for a bass. This is a 3mm. So there's an idea of the sound. If you're playing this indoors sitting on a couch, it actually sounds quite nice. I'm very happy with the tone that I'm getting out of it. The intonation along the neck is quite good, shockingly. And I think if you're sitting around a campfire and the other person's got a guitar, and as long as they're not, bashing out like a Neanderthal, I don't think that would be a problem in terms of competing with an acoustic guitarist. So I think that that's an argument that you hear a lot. I disagree. It really depends on who you're playing with. And again, if you're sitting around a campfire and you've got someone, even with someone finger picking with the classical style or flat picking with the steel guitar, there's a lot here. And you have to keep in mind that when you're playing it, you're not getting the sound that other people are getting. I'm thinking with a Torn of Oz, again, it's going to make a big difference. I want to add a sound port here, so I'm just looking for the right sized hole cutter, and I'll put that here so the player can get a bit more of the sound coming back. But again, this sounds a lot better than what you would get just purchasing it, because I have the bone nut and the bone saddle and decent quality D'Addario strings, which I don't have on hand, but they're medium D'Addarios, so they have quite a bit more tension. The ones that it came with that was dental floss. It's a waste of time. Don't even put the default strings. Don't even tune them up. If you order one of these, just get a decent set of D'Addario mediums or something. So I'm happy with this instrument. I actually really enjoy playing this. I knew going into it that this was not going to be a good quality manufacturing, but I had a feeling the parts were going to be good because of my other experiences with Karrera. So that's where I will leave the review. I'll just give you a closer look at the EQ there. I'm not going to use that much. That doesn't mean that much to me, but it might mean something to you. The body is very light. I'm not sure if they said it was solid spruce or whatnot. But it feels like if I put it there, you can see it's actually weirdly balanced. If I go like that, it just stays there. So that's the balance on this guy, the center of balance. Look, I'm happy with it. I wanted a project instrument, and that's what I've got. And I hope that this thing holds together because I would like to play it for many years to come, especially since I will be adding those extra strings. And I'll make a video to cover the process, and I'll share that fun adventure with anyone that would like to see that. And I hope it sounds good. And if not, I'll just take them off. Anyway, I hope that review was useful to you. Take care of yourself now.